What other the world, though, the Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. So, Ketanji Brown Jackson, this federal judge ruled that Trump can't block people from testifying in the ongoing impeachment proceedings. Reason being, as he stated, simply put, in the past 250 years of American history, it was determined that presidents are not kings. That was a direct quote. Presidents are not kings. And this basically opens it up to where Donald McGahn, former White House counsel, actually cannot refuse to testify. He must comply with the congressional subpoena to testify in these impeachment proceedings regarding specifically regarding the obstruction of justice or the obstruction of the Robert Mueller investigation. Robert Mueller being the FBI special counsel that has actually brought charges against at least 6 White House workers. So now this has wide-ranging implications. Because there have been a number of people who have refused to testify, including former National Security Advisor John Bolton. So we'll see how this turns out. Federal prosecutors are also widening a probe into Trump's personal lawyer, former mayor of New York City, Rudy Giuliani, where they have actually been subpoenas sent out to former Giuliani people who and it essentially suggests, according to the Wall Street Journal, that they're opening up the probe to money laundering, obstruction of justice, and possible campaign finance violations. Greenwald graduate. Report of the New World, though, the Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. So, the Supreme Court actually temporarily blocked a local court ruling that basically says that President Trump's accounting firm has to hand over his financial records, his tax records, over to the House Oversight and Reform Committee. Now this the Supreme Court actually has to decide whether they're going to hear the case or not. This could set a major precedent regarding the balance of power between Congress and the executive branch. So we'll see how this turns out. A lot of governments across the country, most specifically in New York, have actually been trying to get Trump to submit his financial records. I mean, we need to know, like, what decisions are you making regarding and how are they affecting your businesses? You know what I'm saying? Pretty sure there's a direct link between many of his decisions and, his pockets. Greenwald graduate. What other the world, though, the Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. So, U.S. troops are actually deployed. At least 500 of them are deployed back in northern Syria on combat missions. So they're resuming their combat against ISIS militants. This is after the death of ISIS leader al-Baghdadi, Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi specifically. And this is after Trump had actually ordered the U.S. Troops to stand down, stop their support of the Kurds, currently being backed by the Syrian government. Which actually led the way for Turkey to launch this air and ground invasion of northern Syria. And that invasion is actually backed by Russia. So it allowed for a lot of turmoil, the release of a lot of ISIS militants or whatever due to the Kurds not holding them down and or not guarding the prisons. I mean, the U.S. and the Kurds were apparently up there together fighting against ISIS. So, it turned into a real shit show. But now, the U.S. troops, despite Trump saying that he was removing the troops out and then deploying some to Iraq and then having them some remain to guard the Syrian oil fields, and, now they're back in combat over there. Greenwald graduate. News report of the New World, though, the Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. So the United Nations actually released a report that says that in 2018, the world's greenhouse gas emissions actually reached a record high. Also, in the past 20 years, the increase of methane emissions reached a record high, reached a 20-year record high in 2018. Methane is one of the most powerful greenhouse gas emitters. World Meteorologist Organization Secretary General Terry Salas actually was quoted as saying that the increase in greenhouse gas emissions last year was 2.1%. Now, this comes after the Paris Climate Accord, you know what I'm saying, which happened, back in 2015 or whatever, where, you had all types of, most of the countries in this planet actually committing to reducing greenhouse gas emissions. So, like, what the fuck did that do? Now, I told y'all back then about how the same people who was funding it was the same people who like contributing to the shit. So, you can only expect it to happen, especially with America pulling out of the Paris Climate Accord. I mean, it just seemed like it was just for play, you know what I'm saying? But, the world got to do better. You know our motto, green, warm, graduate. For the New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News Report. Make sure you sign that petition. Y'all get Donald Trump on Twitter. I'm gonna change.org, link in the video description. If you're watching this on YouTube, go straight to change.org, look up Get Donald Trump on Twitter. Or go to, you can find the link in my GradyGram716 Instagram profile. And click on that link, and it lays out exactly why you should be removed from the platform. From violating Twitter policies to putting us and U.S. troops and people abroad in danger, spreading misinformation and being bullied. The list runs on, y'all. Make sure y'all get them off of there now. Over in Kenya, actually, there's been an unusual amount of heavy rainfall linked to climate change. 56 people have died from landslides near the Ugandan border. So shit is real over there. Green, war, and graduate. The New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News Report. So there are leaked documents that are giving insight into Chinese government's network of prison camps over in the western region of Xinjiang, where they have been Uyghur Muslims. Uyghur, I might not be pronouncing it right, but it's spelled Uyghur. Muslims have actually been detained. There have been 1 million Uyghur Muslims detained without any trial. So the Chinese government says that the education that they're receiving they're receiving voluntary education, but the leaked documents show that this is there's a campaign that's forcing them to change everything from their cultural beliefs to their religious beliefs. And it's Ben Emerson's a British human rights lawyer basically called this out as, it's hard to view it as anything less than a brainwashing setup aimed at an entire ethnic community. So Chinese government is actually denying any violations of human rights or whatever, but it should have seemed pretty obvious. Green War graduation. The New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News Report. Now, Colombian President Ivan Duque is actually calling for a national dialogue. This is after protests have been rocking his country since last week when they had a general mass protest. And they're still rocking the country, but it initially started from protesting against the corruption there, the murder of indigenous and top community leaders, as well as economic inequality. So I told y'all earlier this year about how the FARC had decided to stop their deal with the Colombian government, but they weren't keeping their end of the bargain on the corruption side. And now it's erupted to many people calling for the ouster of Ivan Duque's right-wing government. Green War and graduate. The New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News Report. Now, if you were in France, Sudan, Bulgaria, Chile, Guatemala, El Salvador, Colombia, Turkey, and many other countries yesterday, you might have seen crowds pour into the streets. Well, they were actually marking the day, the International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women. So, salute to all of the women that wanted to take that stand. Now, I have women in my life, even daughters or whatever, and if any of y'all motherfuckers actually hurt them and damage them, you will be handled to the furthest extent, you know what I'm saying? But a lot of y'all women need to stop, the violence to get these men too, keep it real with yourself, Green War graduate. The New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News Report. So over in Argentina, there were 2 Catholic priests that were actually sentenced to over 4 decades in prison, as they should have, for sexually abusing and raping dozens of students at this institute in Mendoza, in the city of Mendoza, for people with impaired hearing. So basically, sexually abusing and raping, dozens of kids, some who were deaf or whatnot. Now, one of these priests actually had been investigated for sex abuse in his hometown of Italy back in the 1970s, but wasn't convicted. So another conviction also at this school in Argentina landed on a gardener who was outed by over 20 alumni who came out and said that he sexually abused and raped them between the periods of 2004 and 2016. So these motherfuckers are sick. And I don't want to hear anybody from the Catholic religion saying anything about any other problems. The Pope needs to stop talking about like nuclear war or all these other bullshit, because it's a treachery going on in your own house systematically, and you're not dealing with that shit. Green War graduate. News report of the New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News Report. So yesterday, at least 30 water protectors actually blocked the entrance to the Enbridge Line 3 pipeline that's actually being constructed to take oil from the tar sands of Alberta, Canada, to a terminal in Superior, Wisconsin. Now, this line would actually, the construction of this line cuts through Minnesota in an area that's occupied by, that has like indigenous sovereignty, and people are protecting, going against the construction of this pipeline to protect that Native American sovereignty, as well as prevent it from contaminating the land and the water over there. So, typical shit. And it's crazy how the U.S. won't abide by really what was their reparations to the Native Americans. This is insane. Green War on graduation. What are the New World Order? Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News Report. Now, back in 1983 in Baltimore's Harlem Park Junior High School hallway, 14-year-old DeWitt Duckett was shot, and Andrew Stewart, Ransom Watkins, and Alfred Chestnut, the three black teenagers that were actually accused of killing this boy to steal his jacket, and were sentenced to prison. Now, after 36 years, they were actually released. They always maintained their innocence, and now they're released out in their 50s on the grounds of like a lot of the evidence coming up showing that there was like straight up lies committed by the state's attorney general, or the state's attorney, and as well as police pressuring like teenage witnesses. So just these African American men, deserve to have their life back. It should definitely be some reparations for that, yo. Green War and graduation. The New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News Report. So, at the Flathead Reservation in Montana, Attorney General William Barr actually made an announcement of a nationwide plan to address the high missing and murder rates of Native American women. And they did this at a reservation that actually has a high number of missing and murdered Native American women. Now, this has been a complaint in the Native American community for a while now. Many people are calling for, Native tribunals that can actually prosecute non-Native Americans who commit crimes on Native American land. Now, this is on their reservation. Now, this particular plan will actually call for $1.5 million to be invested into special coordinators in 11 U.S. attorneys' offices. And these coordinators will basically conduct, these coordinators will actually have plans or already have caseloads involving these Native American reservations, will actually implement protocols for law enforcement to actually respond better and properly to these cases that are on these Native American reservations. So, we'll see how this turns out. I mean, there's some federal, according to Democracy Now!, there's some federal studies out there that show that at some reservations for Native Americans, the murder rate for women is as high as 10 times higher than the average. So, Green War and graduation.